Hola estudiantes, ¿cómo están? ¿Bien? Qué bueno. En este video vamos a hablar del pretérito con los verbos reflexivos. So your process for this should be super fácil because it's very similar to our normal preterite tense. So vamos a practicar con el verbo levantarse. Okay, so levantarse is to literally lift yourself up, so to get up. When we're talking about in the past tense, though, we got up. So I lifted myself up, or I got up. You get yourself up. He or she got themselves up. So we're talking about past tense. Okay, our first step stays the same. So we take our say and move it to the front. Okay, and we're going to change it for whoever we're talking about. So our reflexive pronouns stay the same. Okay, now we're left with our regular AR verb. So all we're going to do is conjugate it to the preterite tense. Okay, so remember our preterite endings are, for AR endings are A, aste, o, amos, Aaron, and then we have astes in there. Okay, so those are our AR preterite endings. Okay, so now what we do is add levant. So if I want to say I got up this morning, I would say me levanté esta mañana. You got up this morning. Te levantaste. Esta mañana te levantaste muy temprano. This morning you got up very early. Okay? Se levantó. Se levantó. La llama se levantó muy tarde. The llama got up really late. We got up. Nos levantamos. Notice this is the same as the present tense. So when you're talking about the nosotros form, you want to make sure that you add that time expression so that we know if you're talking about the present tense or the past tense. So if I wanted to say yesterday we woke up earlier, yesterday we got up early, I would say ayer nos levantamos muy temprano or temprano. So then I'm indicating that I'm talking about yesterday. So even though it's the same conjugation, we know when you're talking about. Okay, if you're in Spain, os levantastes. And then they got up, se levantaron. Okay, so you just follow the same preterite conjugation with moving that reflexive pronoun to the front and changing it. Vamos a practicar. We'll do one ER or IR verb, and then I'll show you one irregular. Okay, so we have the verb dormirse and vestirse. Okay, so to go to sleep and to dress oneself. So these ones are special because you still do the same thing where you take the se and put it in front. And you're going to change it to me, te, se, os or nos. Okay, same for vestirse. Okay, take the se and put it in the front. Okay, but these are called sandal verbs. Okay, so remember our AR stem changers don't change in the preterite tense. Our IR, ER verbs that are stem changers only change on these two. Okay, so it looks like a little sandal. You see the little chancla there? Okay, and here's their other little chancla. Could be your slides. Okay, and in these two forms, Okay, on this one, your O changes to a U. Not UE, like the present tense, just a U. Okay. On this one, your E changes just to an I, which is just like in our normal present tense, but now it's just in these two. Okay, so when I want to say he or she fell asleep, so past tense, I'm going to say durmió. Durmió. Let me write that better. I'll make our chancla a little bit bigger here. Okay, so if I wanted to say he or she fell asleep, say durmió. Remember our IR, ER endings for preterite is I, iste, io, imos, istes, ieron. Okay, and then we have our, for this one, we're going to change it to a U. Okay, so we get se durmieron and se durmió. If I wanted to say I fell asleep, we're just going to leave it normal because we're not in our chancla, we're not in our sandal. So it would just be me dormí, te dormiste, nos dormimos, os dormistes. Okay, for vestirse, just the E is going to change in our chancla down here to an I. So if I wanted to say he or she got dressed, I would say se vistió. Okay, if I wanted to say they got dressed, it would be se vistieron. Okay. Now, all of our other verbs up here, or conjugations up here, are going to just leave the E normal. So, me vestí, I got dressed, te vestiste, nos vestimos. Okay, notice this is in the same form. Okay, so you have to specify when you're talking about esta mañana nos vestimos. This morning we got dressed. Okay, os vestistes. Okay, so the only change that is happening is in the él, ella, usted form and ellos, ellas, ustedes form. For dormirse is going to be a U, O to U. Vestirse is going to be E to I. Only in these in the sandal down here. Okay, all of your other reflexive verbs are all ending in AR. So this you only have to worry about with dormirse and vestirse. Okay, make sure you do the practice y que tengan un muy buen día y nos vemos hasta luego. Adiós.